Let's work on writing functions worksheet number 1. It's very important in computer science to be able to write your own functions. So let's learn to do that here in Visual Basic. I have a function for which the header is already written out. We just have to add the code that makes it do what it needs to do. And according to the directions here, we're supposed to compute the area of a rectangle. You're supposed to pick up on the fact that the parameters are len and width, not spelled length and width, just len and width. So multiply those together. You should already know that the area of a rectangle is its length times its width. That's common knowledge for a ninth grader. And you should know that the star means multiplication. Don't spell this as width because that variable name does not exist. It's width according to the function here. So we just have to multiply len times width. And we need to return that because this is a function and not a method. This is the word function and not sub. So the job of a function is to return some computed number. If you want to put a parentheses there, that's fine. You don't need them, but it's fine. So that single number that's computed here is returned back to another part of the computer program. And that number is going to be an integer. The return type, the data type of what's being returned is going to be a whole number. Because when you have a whole number multiplied by a whole number, you know that you always get a whole number in response. So do not, please appreciate the fact that that's integer and that's not the word double there. It's the word integer. Okay, moving on to number 2. In number 2, you have to write the function header yourself. The function header should always have the name of the function in it somewhere, which was given to you in the exercise here, compute cost. It takes 2 parameters, one named num items, and all functions in their header, they have a set of parentheses. So num items is one of the parameters, and the other the other parameter rather is cost per item. So num items and cost per item, and they should be separated with a comma. Unfortunately, that's not it. We have to put more in the parentheses here of this function. You might want to look up here and compare what we're doing right here with the function header that was provided to you in question 1. It should start with private function, and we just always make these things private. You don't really need to know what the difference is between private or public. And this is a function and not a method, so don't put the word sub there. Okay, the last little touch here to the function header is that we need the words by val here. That's again beyond the scope of this course. And you do need to tell Visual Basic whether num items is an integer or a double or some other data type. Well, that was also provided information in the problem. So as integer there, and I'm running out of space over here, but over here I would have by val cost per item space as double. Notice that that one should be a double. And then end the parenthesis, and over here to the far right we need to type as and then some other data type, either integer or double. Well, if you multiply an integer times a double, your answer is probably going to be a decimal number because of this decimal number. So we need as double out there. So that's as double. Back to the main part of the exercise. Don't forget end function. And we need 1 or more lines of code in the body of this function. Well, I guess we're going to have to multiply the number of items times the cost per item. Again, using a star, spelling my parameter names correctly here to match the parameter names that were provided to us in the exercise. And we need to return that. And that would be one nice short answer to this question. I should have indented there, but other than that, this is a perfectly fine answer. Some people, however, they like to make things a little bit harder, and if that makes it more readable, I'm okay with that. Instead of returning that directly, they store that in a variable, perhaps called cost. So all of that's stored in cost, and then we return cost. That's fine, except we have this variable cost that the computer doesn't know where to come from. So we do need to declare it in a dim statement above this. And that would need to be a double and not an integer. And for good style, you should set it equal to 0 or 0.0 to be really careful. So these 3 lines of code could be typed out if that makes your code more readable, but that was optional. This was optional, and this was optional. We could have just done return all of this, and that would have worked fine. You try to do number 3 on your own. It's a takeoff of number 2. And why don't you try to do number 4 yourself? That would be a good practice after watching this video with questions 1 and 2.